This is Maestro Cotello with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today, we have a 3v3 on Calderis Refinery. Our first player is Raven, playing as the Chaos Lord. Tanky melee hero in Terminator armor who starts out with a combi bolter and a big demon sword. Nice for tying things up and disrupting. Next up, we've got Max Power playing as the Force Commander. Who expected anything else? This is yet another tanky melee hero. He does not wear Terminator armor, so he can be knocked down and suppressed, but he's good at disrupting with Battle Cry and buffing his troops. Finally on the blue team, we have Osinski playing as Sindri, Trollface, Chaos Sorcerer. And the Chaos Sorcerer is a magic and spell casting hero. He has long-range damage spells as well as control and manipulation spells. On the red team, we've got Sentinel and Enforcer playing as the Commissar Lord, a slightly tanky melee hero with a free energy shield who can buff his own troops by shooting them in the head to make them fight harder. Next up, we've got maximumbk playing as the Warp Spider Exarch. This is a teleporting ranged commander who actually also does decently in melee and has some rather interesting late-game war games. Finally, we have Mandulis, a Force Commander who just went down, another Force Commander. Alright then. So I know in my last cast I reported that Nurgle had blessed me with a few gifts. However, I did recently make a stop at my nearest apothecary who gave me some antibiotic purification vials, and I'm starting to feel a lot better. I'm not quite free of Nurgle's taint yet, but I'm almost feeling at full strength. So we're back here, ready with a new game on Calderis Refinery. We've got lots of power armor, apparently. Apparently a lot of power armor in this game. 4 players out of 5 playing power armor races. And these tactical marines right here, no way in hell were they winning that fight. It was about 3 against 1, or 9 against 3, technically, even though they were in cover. We have more squads just standing right out in the open, so the Chaos Space Marines decide to take some cover by the pipes. I actually thought they were going to go for Force Melee, but either way they're going to win. Whether they go for Force Melee or they just take cover against Guardsmen, Chaos Space Marines are going to have the advantage in terms of just who's going to win in a regular range fight, which sounds dumb, but I mean, if they're positioned in a way that the Chaos Space Marines will bleed monos, then that's actually an important consideration. Grenade Launcher Heretics up for Raven. Interesting choice, going for Grenade Launcher Heretics, especially against double Banshees from maximumbk. You never see the double Banshee coming, and, well, it's not always even a great idea. But we do have a Warp Spider Exarch player, so that kind of tipped me off to let's see. Yeah, we do have the improved warp generator. Is that it? Well, he needs the war gear that will give him the group teleport ability. And yep, it is the improved warp generator, gives him the group teleport ability. Meanwhile, one squad of Chaos Space Marines went down for Raven, and I think that was a little bit unfortunate. That's like kind of why I said the grenade launchers were a little surprising. He's going to lose the Chaos Lord as well, because Heretics or Chaos are very, very important as a melee counter. Even if you've already got the Chaos Lord, who is a melee counter himself, Heretics are still a pretty crucial melee counter because they act as a defensive screen and as control because they can suppress, which the Chaos Lord cannot. And that is actually a pretty big deal. So Raven already suffering for his lack of melee counters. Banshee's still in here, but I don't know how much longer they're going on to stay in here. 3 out of 5 models. The Assault Marine models haven't retreated yet, although they are looking a little weak themselves. The Assault Marine models, they have also lost a model. Meanwhile, the Banshees have lost 2. And the Warp Spider Exarch is still in here. So with the group teleport ability, we might see the Warp Spider Exarch try to teleport 2 squads of Banshees behind the enemy, which is it's considered very, very cheesy, and it has the potential to be extremely powerful. Since if you have to retreat through 2 squads of Banshees, you are probably going to lose a squad. Like most likely, you will actually just straight up lose a squad. For the most part, it just rarely ever happens. Outside of the group teleport ability, it rarely ever happens that you can retreat through 2 squads of Banshees. And players often very, very rarely build 2 squads of Banshees anyway. Some vicious Doom Bolts going in from Osinski's Sorcerer. His Chaos Space Marines do need to be careful, though. The Commissar Lord, rather. Ooh, here's the group teleport. Interesting group teleport right there. Sets up with the Shuriken Cannon. That was not, that was actually, well, that was a non-cheesy use of group teleport, since he, well, just moved his army into better positioning rather than setting up an almost unescapable or inescapable squad wipe. Force Commander reviving the Commissar Lord, and he levels to 2 with that, actually almost to level 3, while the Commissar Lord, even really still mostly at level 1. He's got Stubbornness. No, he's got Aura of Discipline, my mistake. I'd be really worried for those Howling Banshees. Yeah, that was about... Oh, I thought that was going to be just a regular artillery shell, because if the Assault Marines were knocked over by the regular artillery shell, they would have been absolutely food for the Banshees. As it is, these Scouts are wiped entirely. So we're seeing some pretty strong use of the double Howling Banshee play already. And, the double Howling Banshees, it's... Some people will actually say that it's not really practical. It can work. It can definitely work. But it just carries a lot of risk with it, because Howling Banshees are not especially tough models, particularly in Tier 1, and they are rather expensive to reinforce. So it has the potential to backfire. Meanwhile, speaking of double unexpected melee units, we've got double Khorne Marines from Osinski. Double Khorne Marines from Osinski. And this actually also has the potential to be incredibly, incredibly powerful. But my god, there go the double Howling Banshees again. Those double Howling Banshees, I'd say they've already got 3 squad wipes. And of course, don't know which squad has which squad wipe. But they've already done quite a bit. I'm surprised they aren't at a higher level, because they definitely already have 3 squad wipes. And a hero wipe. So we've already got some, well, the Thunderhammer upgrade from Max Power at this point is pretty much a complete no-brainer. The blue team has already suffered heavily because of the double Howling Banshees. Raven just not paying attention there at all. Max Power not happy about it, just loses his Chaos Lord at a moment when really shouldn't have. Pretty much just not reacting there. We're going to see another loss of another squad loss. Can the Howling Banshees get that squad? Oh, wow. Lucky break for those Chaos Space Marines. Upgraded to an Aspiring Champion before they lost the entire squad. That was very, very lucky timing. But still, a huge amount of requisition bleed on that one squad. So right now, the double Howling Banshee build is paying off. Or rather, it has been, but the Force Commander Terminator just might be the thing to really spell their doom. We've got 1 squad of Howling Banshees that has lost quite a few models. If this squad... Oh, we've even got some more attempts to wipe and retreat, but the Force Commander Derps doesn't really get a hit, even though he teleported. And, Raven he's really suffering from having his heretics as grenade launchers rather than as just melee heretics. Or at least if he's going to have the grenade launcher heretics, get another squad of heretics and keep it as melee. Melee heretics, they really are essential to chaos composition. Unless you're fighting against an opponent who's really just going exclusively ranged, which is relatively rare, melee heretics really are pretty essential as a melee counter. For that screening effect, for that suppression and control, even if they're not going to straight up win in a melee fight against the squad that they will be countering, that's not necessarily the point. They just need to control that squad with Doom Blast. Alright, Osinski needs to be very, very careful right here. He's going, yeah, his grenade launcher heretics got disrupted. His Sorcerer also in a lot of trouble, only gets a half volley Doom Bolts off. We do have some Ogrins coming in, 4 model Ogrin squad. The 4-model Ogren squad actually could lose to the Khorne Marines, although the Khorne Marines, they do not have their aspiring champion. It looks like they do have Eternal War, however, and there's too much range support for those Ogrens. We've got 4 squads of Guardsmen. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, I think Osinski really just needs to cut his losses, move back, certainly get the Chaos Space Marines out of there, really reduce their mono bleed, but he's committing rather amazingly. He's probably going to lose 1 squad of Khorne Marines. It's certainly going to be a close call, but I think he will lose it, and in fact he does lose it. Tries the save with the Warp Fire ability from the Chaos Sorcerer, but doesn't get it. So blue team overall really, really suffering a lot. Meanwhile, on the other side, what do we got going on over here? We've got some tactical Marines with the Sergeant. We've also got a Havoc at rather under strength, but here is the Warp Spider Exarch. The Warp Spider Exarch can finish off this squad, and he does. Very, very nicely played. That actually means, yeah, he's got the Power Blades, which give the Warp Spider Exarch a heavy melee weapon. And substantially increasing his melee damage as well, and giving him heavy melee also just gives him a better damage type. He's going to take out the Force Commander as well. Force, I think, Max Power a little foolishly committed to trying to fight the Warp Spider Exarch, thinking that the Force Commander would have an advantage. And I mean, the Force Commander with the Thunderhammer, he does actually do more damage. He's the better melee hero. But he went into that fight with less health than the Warp Spider Exarch, and perhaps just underestimated the Warp Spider Exarch's damage. Didn't realize that he had the Power Blades. Because those Power Blades, they don't really have like as obvious as an effect. It might be possible that if you look really closely, the Power Blades might be different from his normal starting blades, but just from a distance, you really can't tell. Yeah, just from a distance, you absolutely cannot tell. It's not like switching out a chainsword for a Thunderhammer. We've got some Dreadnoughts from both sides. Well, from both sides, I mean, well, both sides of the blue team. The Chaos Dreadnought from Osinski now in a bit of trouble. He just might lose this. It's actually a really, really close call. It's getting stuck on the Ogrens, and he's going to lose it. Also very, very sad. And I see why he got the Tzeentch Dreadnought. The Tzeentch Dreadnought can be very, very, very good against Imperial Guard. However, it is vulnerable to this, the Ogrens. That's why it's actually sometimes a good idea to get a Khorne Dreadnought against Imperial Guard, precisely for this. Khorne Dreadnought will absolutely destroy Ogrens, whereas a Tzeentch Dreadnought will get destroyed by Ogrens. I think I kind of just missed an extremely juicy Plasma Cannon shot. Dark Reapers in a whole lot of trouble. They just barely get out of there alive, but a squad of Dire Avengers did not. Oh my god. So Osinski also hurting really, really badly. Raven getting a second Dreadnought. I mean, to be honest, things really not looking good at all for the blue team. Aside from that crazy disruption or, well, potential... Oh my god! Look at the health drop on those Guardsman squads. And that is courtesy of the tracking special attack from the Force Commander. That special attack from the Force Commander, it will hit, even if you have a unit trying to run away or kite. So here is a Khorne Dreadnought from Raven. Now Raven is playing as a Chaos Lord. The Khorne Dreadnought is a lot riskier with the Chaos Lord than it is with the Sorcerer, because you cannot teleport it out of danger, and the Khorne Dreadnought often puts itself in danger. Right now, it's right in the middle of a las cannon firing arc. If Max Power isn't generous and doesn't tie that las cannon up for him, which I think he will, this Dreadnought will be done. But I think he will tie it up, and that gets it out of there. Saves this Dreadnought. Right now, the blue team really is on life support, but they are about to get a triple cap, which will be a good way to really just bring them back alive, bring them back into the game, because they have been hurting thus far a lot. Osinski, meanwhile, all the way into Tier 3 already. He should get something. My guess is he's saving up for a Phobos or a Great Unclean One, just with the resources he's floating at this moment. He does have the Tome of Subjugation on his Sorcerer. we have... So, Raven is splitting his Dreadnoughts, and I think that's potentially nice. He's both getting the extremely powerful melee counter in the Chaos Dreadnought. Like, almost very few things can stand up to a Khorne Dreadnought in melee. Very few things can. Meanwhile, the Tzeentch Dreadnought provides extremely powerful range damage. Alright, so we've got some Tome of Subjugation on the Ogrins. They nearly wipe the artillery spotters, but we've also got a second squad of Ogrins from Sentinel Enforcer. Man, Sentinel Enforcer really must have his population maxed out. No, he doesn't. But he's still got 2 squads of Ogrins. I guess these guardsmen really just have low population. So the blue team has actually managed to even out the VPs because they did briefly have that triple cap, and even though it was brief, a triple cap really... You just really capture VPs at an incredibly fast rate when you have a triple cap. Anyway, Khorne Marines approaching for Raven, but they're also getting destroyed. That did not quite work as expected, I think. Meanwhile, we have a nuke going on somewhere. Oh! With the nuke going on a bunch of blue team stuff. Blue team, it really seems like they just cannot catch a break. I feel like, yeah, Max Power definitely lost a squad there, and a pretty good squad. He's about to lose another one. Warp Spider Exarch finishing off the Devastators with that awesome teleporting sync kill. Man, I don't know what blue team is going to do here, and they just lost. What did they just lose now? Oh, the Khorne Dreadnought went down. Look at this anti-vehicles firepower set up. And they were even set up in that direction facing the Dreadnought. A Bright Lance, looks like 2 las cannons, both from Mandulis. Max Power saying he basically lost everything. He's going to lose this Dreadnought. Oh my god. What a brutal game so far. I mean, the VPs are still even. I wonder if the blue team can somehow manage to bring this back, because it is... I mean, if they manage to bring this back now, that would really be... well, that would actually really be the thing that would make this replay worthwhile. Because, I mean, even though the VPs are even, but it really feels like on engagements and just in fighting, the red team has stomped all over the blue team right now. 2 blue team heroes down. Raven does decide to buy back his commander, and it should be, yeah, he's going to revive Max Power, which is the sensible choice. Raven was in a position that was rather difficult to get a revive, whereas Max Power is in a very easy position to get a revive. So here is that Great Unclean One. And, I mean, if we take a look around, right now the Guardsmen do not have any plasma guns, so they will not be that effective against the Great Unclean One. However, there are a bunch of las cannons, some plasma cannons, and a Guardian weapon team, and those will be very effective against the Great Unclean One. Now, we do have a lot of anti-vehicle setup teams, so those won't be too effective against the infantry. But that is going to make it very, very hard for any kind of vehicle to approach. Anyway, some Tome of Subjugation now, but here comes the Commissar Lord with the None Shall Fall ability from the Fist of Brachus. So right now, none of the Guardsmen, at least not the Guardsmen covered by the None Shall Fall ability, will die. They'll take damage, but they won't die. Osinski is still looking like he's engaging on rather uneven terms. However, he's got the very, very nice disruption. Right now, he's not really being supported by maximumbk. Those Howling Banshees could actually do a pretty nice number on the Great Unclean One at the moment, except for the fact that here is the Robes of Torment. Right now, the Great Unclean One's disruption ability is on cooldown, but those Howling Banshees are snared. Yeah, needs to tie up that Guardian weapon team. It's going to do a lot of damage to the Great Unclean One. You know, the Great Unclean One actually doing some damage over time to the Banshees. Needs the support of that Predator to move forward a little bit. The Dark Reapers, they are way too close, considering they're also one of the main answers to the Great Unclean One. A very, very nice Vomit on the Howling Banshees. I did kind of forget that the Vomit, of course, can be used as a melee counter. Since it will disrupt. It does, and not just anything, I believe it actually does ability knockback and will disrupt even things like Terminators. Great Unclean One still needs to be very, very careful about these Ogrins because it can get at the moment, I don't think it has the energy to disrupt. It's starting to walk away. Where is the Sorcerer? Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much expected. I just wanted to check to see if the Sorcerer was in a position where it was actually able to teleport the Great Unclean One out safely. Alright, some Doom Bolts go in. One of the Ogrins actually gets wiped, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was one of the squads of Ogrins getting wiped. Sentinel Enforcer now really pushing his luck, and there it is. This is what's going to start really putting the blue team back in the game. Things like this, which is, it's the red team's game to lose, and they're doing things that are really going to cause them to lose. Sentinel Enforcer just losing 2 squads of Ogrins, just pushing way, way too hard. Max Power actually managing to help them stay in the game by disrupting that capturing Warp Spider Exarch, and now it's the blue team with a double cap. Here's the orbital! Wonderful time to use an orbital while everything's here, but where are the beams going to be placed? Alright, not the greatest placement on the beams, and maximumbk actually managed to dodge it entirely, but the same can't exactly be said for Mandulis, so most of his stuff's going to retreat, but it just might retreat to the Land Raider Redeemer. Here's another orbital, this one I think from Mandulis. However, Mandulis hitting, I mean, he gets what in some communities are called goose eggs, which is he hit basically nothing. I think he might have even hit his own Land Raider Redeemer a little bit. But red team now actually at the VP deficit, but by no means out of this game. So we now have a game. Raven needs more stuff. Just put a new unit out on the field. My god. Doom Bolts going in. Not quite enough, though. Osinski, meanwhile, has a huge amount of resources. I think it's going to be really crucial for Osinski to use an Imperial Abyss at a key time. Like, they need to... Osinski needs to... The blue team needs to get the, like, one of the VPs back, and then they need to... Oh my god! Absolutely... This Sentinel Enforcer... Oh my god, I thought he was going to lose some of his guardsmen right there. Just bunching his guardsmen around the Great Unclean One. The Great Unclean One's Death Explosion actually does massive damage if you're right next to the Great Unclean One. So... The blue team, can they get some of the VPs back? If they can get... Oh, here is the Imperial Abyss. Alright, I don't feel that was the greatest time to use the Imperial Abyss, but he's going to do it anyway. Is there support to finish off the Land Raider Redeemer? Because the Land Raider Redeemer, right now, taking a lot of damage. However, it doesn't look like it. Instead, yeah, because the Howling Banshees are approaching, it looks like they've taken out one Predator. We've got another Predator, and the Corn Marines actually doing a lot of damage to the Howling Banshees. It's still potentially anyone's game. Blue team look like they're just like fudging their way through this. Osinski, oh, he just used his Imperial Abyss though. But retreating back to this Land Raider Redeemer might not be such a great idea. Can the blue team pull this off? It's a close call. One squad of Howling Banshees getting way too close to a Land Raider Redeemer and does get wiped. Unfortunately, I mean, part of what we're seeing in this game is red team dropping the ball. This was red team's game to lose, and they are starting to lose it. Osinski has 500 red, and that should mean a Terminator call in from Max Power, absolutely crucial, going to finish off the Land Raider Redeemer. Now I think they just need to target whoever they can. Maybe even try to... It's actually time for them to commit. He's trying to get them back, I think, to the Land Raider. Something's knocking over Sentinel Enforcer. Sentinel Enforcer really dropping the ball in the late game. He's getting his quad guardsmen disrupted and hit by powerful area of effect. Here is an Eldritch Storm. Can the Eldritch finish off the Land Raider Redeemer? Not going to finish it off, but right now it's pretty helpless. If the Lehman Russ commits to taking out the Land Raider Redeemer, actually I'm not sure that it can with the kind of repair support it's getting. It's getting repair support. The Lehman Russ is in trouble now itself. Just got hit by a Melt-A-Bomb. Here is the Avatar, though. But look at this. Here's a decap from Osinski. I feel like the blue team clawing their way back into this game with absolutely no right to, without the units to do it. Osinski's getting back. Oh, he's reviving He's reviving the Chaos Lord, which is, that's actually risky at this point. And Raven buys it back. Alright. So, not quite a communication there. This is going to be a really, really close call for Osinski. Osinski needs to get this capture. Like, he needs the Sorcerer to finish. And then if his Imperial Abyss is on cooldown, he can hold this point for just a little bit. So looks like they've got their natural. The question is, will the red team get their VP back? And again, if that Imperial Abyss is off cooldown, like that Imperial Abyss should be happening right now. Unfortunately, it might be on cooldown. So the blue team do manage to, or rather the red team do manage to white out their own VP. Land Raider, no, wait, we do have a Land Raider Phobos. So Land Raider Phobos and a Las Cannon Predator. That's a lot of Las Cannon damage coming out. Yeah, this Land Raider Phobos actually should move in, commit, and he decides to pull off his Abyss here, which, I mean, it's getting some things off the field. If they can convert that into a capture on the middle VP, that could be enough. These are actually some great late game plays. This Las Cannon Predator, it needs to keep moving, because all of these units are nearly dead, and he should manually target the units that are nearly dead. It's auto-targeting the Avatar, should be going for the Leman Russ, does take out the Leman Russ. The Fire Prism, meanwhile, manages to get out of there alive just barely. We also have another Land Raider Phobos, this one belonging to Raven. And we actually have some blue team units occupying the top area. They don't have the top VP. What can the Sorcerer do? The Sorcerer can even do something like throw down Robes of Torment. He does. Just put a unit on the point. Alright, put the Sorcerer on the point. Corn Marines actually take out the Commissar Lord. And it looks like now the blue team is going to take this. This was absolutely red team's game to lose. They were dominating for, like, this replay is about 27 minutes. I would say the red team was dominating for about 25, or at least 24. Unfortunately, it just kind of gave it away, and the red team just clawing their way back. Osinski's back hurts. I'm wondering if that... I think what Osinski is referring to there is carrying. I think he might be saying that he carried the team, and that his back hurts from carrying the team. And I do think, actually, a lot of the plays there, particularly these... in fact, those like last 1 or 2 minutes with Osinski moving in with the Land Raider Phobos and the Abyss right in the middle, I think a lot of that sealed the game in favor of the blue team. Absolutely bizarre. But hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night.